physics, and maths for those students that want to enroll in medical, dental, veterinary, financial, and engineering programs at the chosen university in the UK. So today, I wanted to come into the live stream and I wanted to talk to you about why two students revising the same hours get different grades. This has to be one of the questions I'm asked most often. And it's this one. The parents, what they're doing is that they're comparing their teen to someone else's teen. And what they quietly notice is this, is that if you have two students who are revising A-level maths, A-level science, let's pull A-level chemistry as an example. One gets an A and one gets a C. And then they begin to wonder, saying, well, they're both working hard. They're both putting in the time, effort, and attention. They're both trying to do the right thing. So why are the outcomes different? Why does one student end up with an A or one student end up with a C? Well, the reason is this, is that at A level, results are not driven by time. Results are driven by how the time is used. This is the differentiator. The core misconception that parents have is this one, and students have it as well. It's this. They think that time equals progress. And so they think, well, if my son, my daughter, puts in more time into their studies, well, obviously, the grade has to be higher. There is a certain amount of truth to that. You do need to put in the time, effort, and attention in order to get the baseline down. But beyond that, it isn't linear anymore. And so the more time you put in doesn't necessarily mean a higher grade. Now, the concept of time equating to grades, it comes from the 7,000 hour study that was made famous, I think about a decade ago. And it's this one. They did this study and they found this. If you put 7,000 hours of time studying something, say, for example, music, well, then you can become a world-class opera singer. But the problem was at A level, time is not a differentiator. It isn't a one-to-one correspondence. You can put more time in and your grade is not going to change. And the reason is because time is not a differentiator, structure is. And so if two students, for example, spend 3 hours studying, you're going to get different outcomes. Because one student may be studying, revising in a way that reinforces their strengths. The other one is studying in a way that's fixing their weaknesses. One student may have a passive approach to studying, revising, whereas the other student has an active approach to studying, revising. One student is guessing. The other one is diagnosing. Same time, different results. And so if you look at the difference between student A and student B, exactly what they're doing, it's this. Student A rereads their notes, copies over their notes from class, highlights textbooks, revises comfortable topics that they know what they're doing, avoids the difficult questions. They don't track mistakes. And the issue with this one, parents, is this, is that, yes, for the teen, it feels productive. They can say at the end of 3 hours, they've done all of this work, look at this. But they'll see little improvement. Whereas student B takes a different approach. Maybe they review past paper performance. How did they do? Where's the errors that they made? How can they improve? Maybe they identify marks that they lost on the paper. They target specific weaknesses. If they know there's a certain topic in A-level chemistry or A-level biology or A-level maths that they're weak at, this is the one that they need to target and spend time on. They practice exam-style questions under time pressure. Sit down and actually take the paper under exam conditions with a clock. They track their progress week to week. Now, this student B, it's a less comfortable study and revision strategy for them, but they'll see consistent improvement. It's kind of like going to the gym. Two people can go to the gym, parents, right? One person is just going to do the circuit training with the machines, with a weight that feels comfortable. They've used the hour up. They say, well, I worked out once this week. I only have to do it 2 more times. Oh, look, I've done it. Fantastic. And they never really think beyond that. They're just staying in the comfort zone. Whereas you can have somebody else who goes down to gym with a different approach. And the approach is, right, I'm going to get a workout in, and here's my one area of my body that I want to work on, like chest, for example. These are the exercises that I'm going to do. I'm going to track how much weight I can lift. I'm going to track my improvement, and they track everything. That person will make more improvement. Same amount of time, 3 times a week. One person is going to be stuck in the comfort zone, the circle of sameness, and the other person is going to step out of that comfort zone, the circle of sameness, and actually see improvement. Because what's the hidden variable that we're talking about? The hidden variable that we're talking about, parents, is feedback. Because the biggest difference between student A and student B, well, it isn't the amount of time that they're putting in. They're putting in the same time, effort, and attention. So it's not effort. The biggest difference is feedback. Student A studies in isolation. Student B studies with mark schemes that they know how to read. They understand a mark scheme, what the examiner is looking for. They can identify the weaknesses, the pitfalls, the examiner traps. They have tutor feedback. Just like going down to the gym, if you work with a personal trainer, then you improve more because you're getting constant feedback of what you're doing right and what you need to work on. Self-assessment. They're not just going through papers as fast as they can, right? I've done this one. Let's go through another paper. I've done this one. No, they're actually slowing down, looking at the paper, looking at the mark scheme, analyzing where they got it right and where they got it wrong, the error that they made in their thinking, and how they can improve it. And they're tracking errors. Yes, it's okay to make a mistake, parents. It really is. Because you can only learn if you make a mistake. You can't learn something new if you don't make a mistake, because otherwise you'd know how to do it. So logically, you aren't learning anything. Because without feedback, and this is what's the trap that student A is in, without feedback, mistakes repeat. Because you don't know the mistake that you're making. You don't know how to improve. You're just going through the motions. You're feeling good about what you do. With feedback, with student B, for example, mistakes reduce. You make a mistake, you know how to improve on the situation, so you reduce the chances of you making the same mistake again. And what this really leads into is a performance gap. And it's a performance gap that you see at the end of year exams in year 12 and year 13. Because most students, both students, they may know the content. No doubt they know the content. Doesn't matter what question you ask them, they can explain it to you outside of the exam hall, outside of the classroom, when there's no pressure involved. But only one student can apply it under pressure. Structure answers correctly in the way that the examiner is looking for. They can interpret command words, and they can manage their time effectively. And this is a difference between knowledge and performance, because the exam, it does not reward knowledge. Knowledge gets you a C. What it rewards is performance, being able to apply it on the day. This is the difference between knowledge and performance. But the student A, the one that's got the passive studying skills, the passive revision strategies, they fall into a familiarity trap. And it's a real insidious, devious trap to fall into, parents. It's this one. Student A, they feel confident when they're revising. They have the textbook open, the past papers that they're working on. Maybe they've got a YouTube channel with somebody explaining how to do the questions, or maybe they're on a little group with their friends. They're all working together. And they feel confident under those conditions. Why? Because everything feels familiar. They know what they're doing. But as soon as you put them into the exam hall, the classroom under exam conditions, familiarity disappears. It's gone. Because all of a sudden, they're looking at a paper, they have not seen the questions before. They don't have a textbook to look at. They don't have a mark scheme. Well, I would have kind of written this one. They don't have somebody explaining it on a YouTube channel, and they don't have the friends. And the reason why familiarity disappears is this. It's because recognition is not recall. And recall under pressure is what earns marks on the exam. So think about this one for a minute, parents. Recall under pressure is what earns marks on the exam. If your student, if your teen, your son, your daughter, if they can't apply the content to novel questions under exam conditions, they're never going to break through to the A and the A star upper echelon. So what exactly creates this grade improvement that I'm talking about, this breakthrough that students have when they break through the C and they move into the B, the A, and the A star range? Well, it's this. Students who do this, they consistently focus on a few things. Now, at Empowered STEM, we call this precision diagnosis. The very first thing they do is they look at the work, they look at the papers, they look at the homework, the tests, and they ask themselves, precision diagnosis, what exactly caused me to lose marks on this test? On this topic test from school, what exactly caused me to lose marks? Or conceptual clarity. They start walking down the path, the journey. Conceptual clarity. Which ideas am I not fully understanding? It may be proton NMR or carbon-13 NMR or organic synthesis in A-level chemistry, or differentiation and integration in A-level maths, or gene expression in A-level biology. Which concepts am I not understanding? Strategic revision. Which questions need targeted practice? If they're looking at their paper, parents, and then noticing they keep on getting the 5-mark mechanism question wrong in A-level chemistry. They keep on, it's the last couple of steps that they're missing out on a mechanism, then this is something that they need to focus in on and address when they're studying, when they're revising. Or if they're doing differentiation in A-level maths or some topic from A-level biology, and in A-level biology, it's the 25-mark essays they have to do. If they know that they're weak at this one, then this is something that they need to address on. And so they hone in on it. They tog in on weakness. And then they look at performance training. Can this be done under timed conditions? Under the stress of taking the exam with the clock ticking down the front of the exam hall, with the time running down, you're sitting there with all the other students in year 12 or year 13 who are taking A-level biology, chemistry, physics, or maths. Can you perform under time conditions? And reflection. What changed between this exam and the one I took previously? Because we believe that the grade that your teen gets on the exam is a reflection of the habits that they have towards studying and revising from the last exam. So what exactly changed? What did they improve on? Now, top performing students, they do these steps, and it creates evidence. And evidence builds confidence, because all of a sudden the teen is thinking, right, I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, I know what I need to work on, I know what I need to revise, study, what content I need to review, and they have a really targeted plan. And because of that, the grades begin to move upwards in a spiral in the mark book. And this is the exact path that we use at Empowered STEM. So at Empowered STEM, we have the STEM path method, which is 4 steps to it, which mirrors exactly what top performing students do. Precision diagnosis. Stop guessing what to revise. If you only have so much time in the evening to revise a topic, let's not guess and do a general revision. Let's revise exactly what you need to revise in order to, as Brendon Burchard would say, spike the needle. Conceptual clarity. Let's fix the root, not the symptom. Don't gloss over a topic you don't understand and I'll just learn what the examiner wants me to write down on the exam. Oh, look, I got it right. Fix the misunderstanding of the concepts at the root. You fix the root cause, not the symptom. Strategic revision. Target weak question types deliberately. If a teen knows that it's the mechanism questions or the 4-marker calculation questions in A-level chemistry that trips them up all the time, or that 6-marker essay question, they're always getting 3 or 4 marks out of 6. If they know the question type that they are weak on, then they hone in on it and they target the question types and they keep working on them until they get the full marks on the question type. Medical mindset. Treat performance as data, not emotion. As we tell our students, your identity is not linked to your grade in A-level maths and A-level science. It isn't. And the results that you get from your teacher, whether it's a lab report or a topic test or a mock exam, the end of year 12 exam, it's just data. There's no emotion to it. It isn't attached to your identity or your belief, but it's something that we can onboard. It's feedback that we can take, and then we can help you move to the next grade boundary. Because when these 4 steps are in place, parents, the hours of studying and revising that your teen puts in becomes effective. It's like going down to the gym and working out with a personal trainer. Because studies show that if you work out with a coach, if you work out with a personal trainer, for example, you get further and you get the result that you want more quickly than doing it on your own. So parents, what exactly can you ask your teen? If you're watching your teen upstairs in the room, they're studying and they're revising and they're putting in the time, the effort and attention, they're up there all day on a Saturday and a Sunday afternoon, what questions can you ask? Well, you know I'm really big on question stems. And so rather than say, well, how many hours did you revise this week? That's just a door, opening the door to a judgment, isn't it? How many hours did you study this week? Oh, do you think you should study more hours? Do you think you're studying too much? Are you going to get yourself burnt out? No, don't ask that question, because what it is it opens up a belief statement. It opens up an identity statement, and it gets you into an argument with a teen, which you don't want to have. On the other hand, you can ask behavior-based questions. For example, so what did you improve this week? Oh, I see. You worked on the 5-star mechanism questions in A-level chemistry. Okay, good. So what pattern did your last paper reveal? I see. In A-level biology, it's that 25 marker that just seems to trip you up, is it? Okay. So what question type are you fixing this week? The multiple choice. Okay, good. Yes, you need to get faster doing multiple choice. Good. How do you know you're getting better? Oh, I see. You're recording the scores you get on the homework and the tests and the mock exams and the lab report, and you're graphing everything out so you can visually see the improvement that you're making each day and each week in the course. Brilliant. When you ask questions like this, parents, it shifts the focus from time. How much time did your teen spend studying, revising, to outcomes? You are managing their outcomes for them. And at the end of the day, the outcome, the A and the A star and A-level maths and A-level science is what they need, is what they want. So parents, let me give you some reassurance here. If your teen is working hard, if they're putting in the time, effort, and attention, and they're not improving their grade in A-level maths and A-level science, it doesn't mean that they lack ability. It doesn't mean that they lack discipline. And it doesn't mean that they aren't trying either. What it means is that the structure of their revision needs to change. This is what they need to do. Because at A level, time alone doesn't produce grades. Structured effort does. So think about this one. If time alone did produce grades, then all the students taking A-level maths and A-level science would put in the maximum amount of time they possibly could get, and they'd all walk out with A stars, A's, and B's. And you know that is not the case. Structured effort does. Just like student B who had a structured effort, just like the person who went down to the gym and had a structured workout plan and worked with a personal trainer, will see better results, because structure is what causes an improvement in your teen's grades in A-level maths and A-level science. Now, parents, if you're watching the live streams on Facebook and YouTube. And if what we talk about each week in our live streams, if it resonates with you, if you think, actually, what Graham's talking about, it does make sense to me. I understand where he's coming from. Well, if you're watching the live stream on Facebook, then join the Facebook page and you will be notified of upcoming live streams. And if you're watching the live stream on the YouTube channel, again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And not only will you be notified of upcoming live streams, but you'll also be able to see all the other live streams that we do. Because we're always doing live streams for the parents throughout the week, where we give you the tips, the techniques, and the strategies that you need in order to help your teen secure those A and A-star grades in A-level maths and A-level science. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the courses that we offer at Empowered STEM, it's really easy for you to do this. In the description below the video on Facebook or YouTube, there's a link. You can click on the link, fill out the form, and a member of my team will reach out to you, and they will have a non-sales, non-committal conversation with you. And you can explain to them where your teen is academically, their grade in the mark book, their working grade, their predicted grade, the aspirational grade, which university they want to go to, whether they want to be a doctor, a dentist, a veterinarian, an engineer, work in the financial industry. And you can ask all the questions that you want about the courses that we offer at Empowered STEM. And in the conversation, you can ask questions and make sure that our course is a good fit for your teen. And also, we can make sure that we think that our course is going to be a good fit for your teen. And if it's mutually agreeable that you think that our course is actually going to work for your teen, at least then you have all the information you need to make an informed decision and invest in your teen's education. Everybody take care, and I'll see you in the next one.